Fredericksburg is an independent city in the Commonwealth of Virginia. As of 2013, the population was 28,132. The Bureau of Economic Analysis combines the city of Fredericksburg with neighboring Spotsylvania County for statistical purposes. Located 49 miles south of Washington, D.C., and 58 miles north of Richmond, Fredericksburg is part of the Northern Virginia region and is included in the Washington, Arlington, Alexandria, DCVAMD West Virginia Metropolitan Statistical Area. Located near where the Rappahannock River crosses the Fall Line, Fredericksburg was a prominent port in Virginia during the colonial era. During the Civil War, the town, located halfway between the capitals of the opposing forces, was the site of the Battle of Fredericksburg and Second Battle of Fredericksburg, preserved in part as the Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania National Military Park. Tourism is a major part of the economy, with approximately 1.5 million people visiting the Fredericksburg area annually, including the Battlefield Park, the Downtown Visitor Center, events, museums and historic sites. Fredericksburg is home to several major commercial centers including Central Park and Spotsylvania Town Center, located in Spotsylvania County adjacent to the city line. Major employers include the University of Mary Washington Healthcare, and Geico. Many Fredericksburg area residents commute to work by car, bus, and rail to Washington, D.C. and Richmond, as well as the counties of Fairfax, Prince William, and Arlington. There has been continuous debate about whether or not Fredericksburg is culturally a part of the rest of Northern Virginia. History. At the time of European encounter, the inhabitants of the area that became Fredericksburg were a Siouan-speaking tribe called the Manahoic. English colonists recorded the name of the Manahoic village there as Mahaskahode. Colonial located on the Rappahannock River near the head of navigation at the Fall Line. Fredericksburg developed as the frontier of colonial Virginia shifted west out of the coastal plain. The land on which the city was founded was part of a tract patented in 1671. The Virginia General Assembly established a fort on the Rappahannock in 1676, just below the present-day city. In 1714, Lt. Gov. Alexander Spotswood sponsored a German settlement called Germana on the Rapidan River, a tributary of the Rappahannock upstream from the future site of the city, and led an expedition westward over the Blue Ridge Mountains in 1716. As interest in the frontier grew, the Colonial Assembly responded by forming a new county named Spotsylvania in 1720 and establishing Fredericksburg in 1728 as a port for the county, of which it was then a part. Named for Frederick, Prince of Wales, son of King George II, the colonial town's streets bore the names of members of the royal family. The county court was moved to Fredericksburg in 1732, and the town served as county seat until 1780, when the courthouse was moved closer to the county center in Spotsylvania County. In 1781, Fredericksburg was incorporated as a town, with its own court, council, and mayor. It received its charter as a city in 1879, and under Virginia law was separated from Spotsylvania County. The city adopted its present city manager-council form of government in 1911. The city has close associations with George Washington, whose family moved to Ferry Farm in Stafford County just off the Rappahannock River opposite Fredericksburg in 1738. Washington's mother Mary later moved to the city, and his sister Betty lived at Kenmore, a plantation house then outside the city. Other significant early residents include the Revolutionary War generals Hugh Mercer and George Whedon, naval war hero John Paul Jones, and future U.S. President James Monroe. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom in Fredericksburg. 19th century. During the 19th century, Fredericksburg sought to maintain its sphere of trade but with limited success. It promoted the development of a canal on the Rappahannock and construction of a turnpike and plank road to bind the interior country to the market town. By 1837, a north-south railroad, which became the Richmond, Fredericksburg and Potomac Railroad, linked the town to Richmond, the state capital. A much-needed railroad joining the town to the farming region to the west was not finished until after the Civil War. During the Civil War, Fredericksburg gained strategic importance due to its location midway between Washington and Richmond, the opposing capitals of the Union and the Confederacy. During the Battle of Fredericksburg, December 11–15, 1862, the town sustained significant damage from bombardment and looting by the Union forces. A second Battle of Fredericksburg was fought in and around the town on May 3, 1863, in connection with the Chancellorsville Campaign. The battles of the Wilderness and Spotsylvania Courthouse were fought nearby in May 1864. 20th century. After the war, Fredericksburg recovered its former position as a center of local trade and slowly grew beyond its pre-war boundaries. Neither the city of Fredericksburg, nor either of the surrounding counties, reached the population level of the census of 1860 until the 1940s. The 1960s brought renewed growth and development, fueled by the arrival of Interstate 95. By the 1970s, the city and the area had become a bedroom community for jobs in Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C., largely related to the city's location near four military installations: Quantico Marine Corps Base, the Army's F.D. Beaver, the Navy's Dahlgren Surface Weapons Base, and the National Guard's F.D. A.P. Hill. In addition, career military personnel, assigned to the Pentagon, find Fredericksburg a convenient home base. The University of Mary Washington was founded in Fredericksburg in 1908 as the State Normal and Industrial School for Women, adopting the name of Mary Washington College in 1938. The college was for many years associated with the University of Virginia as a women's liberal arts college. The college became independent of UVA and began to accept men in 1970. Recently, the college changed names from Mary Washington College to the University of Mary Washington. Two separate campuses for graduate and professional studies in education and research are located in suburban Stafford County and in rural King George County near the Dahlgren Naval Base, respectively. The power chord of modern guitar was first developed by Link Ray in Fredericksburg in 1958 during his first improvisation of the instrumental piece, Rumble, a single released by Ray and his Raymen. The local music scene includes a wide variety of genres. A commuter rail line, the Virginia Railway Express, was established in the 1980s, providing passage to job sites beyond Fredericksburg. The city has become the regional healthcare center for the area. Retail, real estate, and other commercial growth exploded into the early 21st century, eventually slowing during the Great Recession, beginning in 2007. Geography and climate. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 10.5 square miles, of which 10.4 square miles is land and 0.1 square miles is water. The city is part of the boundary between the Piedmont and Tidewater regions, and as such is located on the Fall Line, as evidently seen on the Rappahannock River. US 1, US 17, and I-95 all pass through the city, which is located approximately 49 miles from Washington, D.C. The city is bounded on the north and east by the Rappahannock River. Across the river is Stafford County. The city is bounded on the south and west by Spotsylvania County. Fredericksburg has a four-season humid subtropical climate, with cool winters and hot, humid summers. Daytime temperatures for much of the year average slightly higher than in Washington, D.C. due to the southerly aspect. Although the inland location and distance from the urban heat island present in the nation's capital make for significantly cooler low temperatures. Demographics. As of the census of 2000, there were 19,279 people, 8,102 households, and 3,925 families residing in the city. The population density was 1,833.0 people per square mile. There were 8,888 housing units at an average density of 845.0 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 73.18% white, 20.41% black or African American, 0.34% Native American, 1.51% Asian, 0.06% Pacific Islander, 2.56% from other races, and 1.95% from two or more races. 4.90% of the population were Hispanic or Latino of any race. There were 8,102 households, out of which 21.6% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 31.8% were married couples living together. 13.1% had a female householder with no husband present, and 51.6% were non-families. 39.2% of all households were made up of individuals, and 12.8% had someone living there alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.09 and the average family size was 2.81. In the city, the population was spread out, with 17.8% under the age of 18, 23.8% from 18 to 24, 27.2% from 25 to 44, 18.4% from 45 to 64, and 12.8% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 30 years. For every 100 females there were 81.8 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 78.4 males. The median income for a household in the city was $34,585, and the median income for a family was $47,148. Males had a median income of $33,641 versus $25,037 for females. The per capita income for the city was $21,527. 15.5% of the population and 10.4% of families were below the poverty line. Out of the total population, 19.9% of those under the age of 18 and 8.8% of those 65 and older were living below the poverty line. Crime. The Fredericksburg Police Department tracks crime information under the state-level system of the Uniform Crime Reporting Program. Per state code, the central repository for crime statistics rests with the Department of State Police, which compiles data from all of the participating agencies into an annual publication. Politics. By long-standing tradition, local elections in Fredericksburg are officially non-partisan. The mayoral and council elections nor local constitutional positions do not have candidates with a party label. Like the rest of Northern Virginia, Fredericksburg has trended strongly Democratic in recent years. In the 2008 presidential election, voters in Fredericksburg gave Barack Obama a total of 64.33% of the vote. Only Arlington County, Alexandria, and Falls Church had a higher percentage of votes for Obama in Northern Virginia. According to Dave Leip's Atlas of U.S. presidential elections, no Republican presidential candidate has carried Fredericksburg since 1988. Mayor Mary Catherine Greenlaw won election in 2012. Culture and recreation, architecture and historic sites. Despite recent decades of suburban growth, reminders of the area's past abound. The 40-block Fredericksburg Historic District, on the National Register of Historic Places, embraces the city's downtown area and contains more than 350 buildings dating to the 18th and 19th centuries. Crowds of tourists are drawn to the historic district of Fredericksburg during the summer months. Within the historic district, 4 18th-century historic sites have been managed by Preservation Virginia, but, following a full, statewide reorganization by that organization, the newly created Washington Heritage Museums Group will acquire the sites by 2014. The Mary Washington House, where George Washington's mother spent her final years, the late 18th-century Rising Sun Tavern, and the Hugh Mercer Apothecary Shop. Important public buildings include the 1852 courthouse designed by James Renwick, whose works include the Smithsonian Institution's Castle Building in Washington and St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, and the 1816 Town Hall and Market House. The latter building housed the Fredericksburg Area Museum and Cultural Center, which was closed in 2015 due to a lack of funding. Another site of interest is St. George's Church. The James Monroe Museum and Memorial Library is located on the site where Monroe practiced law from 1786 to 1788. The museum is housed in a building that is made up of 3 individual structures, constructed at different times, beginning in 1816. Nearby the historic district is Kenmore, the plantation home of Washington's sister Betty and her husband Patriot Fielding Louis. The area's Civil War battles are commemorated in Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania National Military Park. Formed by an Act of Congress in 1927, the National Military Park preserves portions of the battlefields of Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, the Wilderness, and Spotsylvania Courthouse. The Fredericksburg National Cemetery, also part of the park, is located on Mary's Heights on the Fredericksburg battlefield and contains more than 15,000 Union burials from the area's battlefields. Notable 20th-century sites and structures include the campus of the University of Mary Washington, and Carl's Ice Cream, an art-modern roadside ice cream stand on the National Register of Historic Places on U.S. Route 1. Nearby points of interest include Ferry Farm Historic Site in Stafford County, where Washington spent his boyhood immediately across the river from Fredericksburg, and the George Washington Birthplace National Monument, located 38 miles to the east in Westmoreland County. The historic community of Falmouth lies across the Rappahannock to the north and includes the historic House Belmont, home of American Impressionist artist Gary Melchers. Parks. Public parks run by the city include Old Mill Park, Alum Spring Park, Hercamp Park, Dixon Park. Education. Primary and secondary schools. The Fredericksburg City Public Schools are run independent of the surrounding counties. The public primary and secondary schools include James Monroe High School, Walker Grant Middle School, Hugh Mercer, Lafayette Upper Elementary School. Private schools include Fredericksburg Academy, Fredericksburg Christian School, St. Michael the Archangel High School, Lighthouse Academy. Higher education. The University of Mary Washington, established in 1908 and opening in 1911, is a 4-year public university within the city. Media. Fredericksburg's daily newspaper is the Freelance Star. The Freelance was first published in 1885, and competed with 2 twice-weekly papers in the city during the late 19th century. The Fredericksburg News and the Virginia Star. While the News folded in 1884, the Star moved to daily publication in 1893. In 1900, the 2 companies merged, with both newspapers continuing publication until 1926, when they merged as a single daily newspaper under the current title. Until June 19, 2014, the Freelance Star was owned and operated by members of the Rowe family of Fredericksburg. At that time, Santon Capital Partners purchased the paper. Fredericksburg and the nearby region have several radio stations, including WYAU, WJYJ, WFLS, WGRQ, WWUZ, WVBX, WBQB and WGRX. Fredericksburg AM stations include WFBA and WNTX. WGRQ and WGRX are owned locally by Telemedia Broadcasting. WFLS, WWUZ, WVBX, and WYSK are owned by Alpha Media. In 2001, the Arbitron Media Service began listing the Fredericksburg area as a nationally rated radio market. As of the fall of 2014, the area ranked 146th out of 272 markets surveyed, with a total market population of more than 325,000. Large broadcast companies like Clear Channel Communications and Cumulus Broadcasting are not active in the local market. Almost all of its stations remain locally or regionally owned. In television, Fredericksburg is part of the Washington market. Sports. There are no professional sports teams in Fredericksburg. In October 2013, the Hagerstown Suns minor league baseball team formally applied to relocate there for the 2015 season, but plans fell apart by November 2014. Sports at the secondary education level are run through the Virginia High School League. On the collegiate level are the University of Mary Washington Eagles. Other amateur athletics include the Fredericksburg Hotspur of United Soccer League's Premier Development League, the Virginia Badgers of American Indoor Football, and the Rappahannock Rugby Club, a senior men's rugby club competing in Division III of the Potomac Rugby Union. Transportation. Fredericksburg is traversed by a series of rural and suburban 4-lane highways and a multitude of small, 2-lane roads. Among the major arterial roads is U.S. Route 1, providing north-south transportation from the region to Stafford, Washington, D.C., and points beyond. Route 3 is a major east-west route that connects downtown Fredericksburg, southern Stafford and King George counties, and Route 301 with the large shopping centers, Spotsylvania Town Center and Central Park. To the west, Route 3 reaches Culpeper, where it meets Route 29 and Route 15. Most of Fredericksburg's traffic flow is to or from the north during peak commuting hours, primarily via Interstate 95 and US 1. The US 1 bridge over the Rappahannock River is often a traffic bottleneck, and Route 3 has become increasingly jammed as residential development has grown west, along with a major regional shopping center. As an alternative to I-95, commuters also use the Virginia Railway Express rail service to Washington. Long-distance rail service is available on Amtrak, which serves Fredericksburg via the Northeast Regional and Carolinian Piedmont routes. Fred is a recently started bus service in Fredericksburg which serves most area communities, retail shopping centers, 2 VRE stations, and downtown Fredericksburg.